Good morning, everyone. Soon to be good afternoon. So I decided to come on live today. I gave a little sneak peek into what I was going to be talking about. The topic for today is Maslow's feelings, law of attraction, and what the hell that has to do with procrastination, especially for students. My name is Clarissa Rodriguez. I am the creator of She Rocks at College and Study School, as well as a part-time labor and delivery nurse. And today's live stream is going to get a little bit trippy. It's going to get a little bit woo-woo. It's going to involve a lot of thinking about thinking and thinking about our existence on this planet. And the reason why I am talking about this and why I haven't talked about this in the past is because this is actually a part of my life that I have been afraid to share on my YouTube channel as part of She Rocks at College, because it is it's about topics that I think are sort of difficult to understand, or if you're not in the right headspace to understand them, that a lot of the times people have, especially people who are more left-brained, more of the logical sense, have difficulty understanding. But my whole job recently and working with students has led me to sort of stop being afraid and come out and talk about this stuff more if I really want to show up fully and help students in the way that I intend to help them. And so I have been working with college students over the past 2 years, and one of the things that always comes up, no matter what I say, no matter what I decide to talk about, no matter how many tools, tips, tricks, guidance I give students, the biggest thing that everybody wants to know is, how do I stop procrastinating, and how do I begin to motivate myself to get the things that I need to get done as a student? And so today I'm going to be talking about what motivation is to begin with, what Maslow's hierarchy of needs has to do with motivation, what our feelings or emotions have to do with motivation, the law of attraction, and what all of that has to do with why it is that you cannot get yourself to stop procrastinating. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is I'm going to define what motivation is. And what I've done is, obviously, what I always do when I want to find the definition to something is I went on dictionary.com. I'm going to read to you what the actual definition for motivation is. And the definition of motivation is the act of motivating or providing with the reason to act in any type of way. So motivation, So motivation is providing someone with a reason or a cause to do something, a purpose, a reason. Most of the time, what we're saying is we're providing somebody with the energy to put them in the motion of whatever it is that they want to achieve, in the motion of writing the paper, in the motion of studying for the exam, in the motion of reading, right? Anything that we are putting in motion or providing energy to move or drive in a certain direction, what we're doing is we're motivating them. We're giving them the energy. And all energy is our vibrations, right? The cells in our body, the different particles that make up this earth, everything that drives it is energy. And all it is the vibration of molecules and protons and etc. It's vibration. And for us as humans, our feelings and our emotions are the way that we viscerally, like internally, feel these vibrations. Okay? So hopefully everybody is with me at this moment. Okay? So what motivation is providing somebody with a purpose or a motive, or another way of thinking about it is the energy to get moving in a certain direction. It's pushing them, giving them the energy to move them in a certain direction. And all energy is is vibration. It's the vibrational current that runs through everything, all cells, all living things, anything in this world. There's a vibrational current moving through it, providing it with energy. We feel these vibrations. We feel these vibrations viscerally through our emotions, through our feelings. And if you have a hard time thinking about this, or you're really skeptical about this idea, or it's something that you don't necessarily understand, or you don't believe in it, what I will say to you is this. How come when we're in an awkward situation, or we walk into a room where an awkward, tense, stressful situation has occurred, even though we didn't witness it with our own eyes, we can feel the tension. We can feel the stress. We can feel the awkwardness. How is it that we're able to feel those emotions even though we weren't in that room when it occurred? It's because the energy, the vibration, the current of those emotions are still running through that room. So if you have a hard time believing this, it's something that you don't, that you can't seem to wrap your brain around, I just want you to think about what I just explained, okay? Now, what I have been learning through my research, through years and years of I first stumbled upon the law of attraction, neuroscience, and all of this when I was going through my journey of trying to get into nursing school and pursue a medical degree after I was told that I would never make it in the medical field. I started looking into neuroscience and understanding consciousness and understanding how we learn and understanding what makes successful people successful and unsuccessful people unsuccessful. And so our thoughts, okay? So we experience things in our daily life, whether they're good or bad. It doesn't matter. We're constantly going through situations, going through circumstances. I'm going to turn off my AC because I can't think with it on. 1 second. It causes me to speak louder than I need to. Okay. We came into this physical world. Okay, so if you're with me, I personally believe that we are not our bodies, that we are souls living in bodies. And we made the decision to come into this world to experience what it was like to be human. Okay, those are what my beliefs are. And again, this is why I feel really uncomfortable talking about this, because people will tend to disagree or whatever. Anyway, so I feel like we came into this body because we wanted to experience what it was like to live in this human existence. And we go through life constantly experiencing what it's like to be human. Some of these experiences are good, and some of these experiences are bad. Based off of what we experience, we're constantly getting information on what we want and what we don't want. This life is always providing us with contrast, and there's always contrast. There's always what we want and what we don't want. And we're constantly either focusing on what we want or focusing on what we don't want, okay? What we're experiencing causes us to think a thought. That thought causes us to feel a certain way, and that feeling then triggers an action. Now, as we were evolving as human beings, when the first human being came onto this planet, they were motivated by different things. Different things put them into action. They were constantly experiencing life and death. And everything that we want in this world, everything that we do, every action that we take, we do it because we think in the having of it or in the doing of it, we will feel better. Every desire that you have, everything that you want it because you think that in the having of it, you will feel better. So what you're searching for is not the thing, right? It's not the A that you're searching for. It's not doing the paper, having it done and getting an A on it that you're searching for, but you're searching for the feeling that you think getting an A paper will get you. You're searching for the feeling of what having completed that assignment or the reading or the studying will get you, because you think that in completing it and getting it done, it'll make you feel better. Back in the day when we were still living in caves, it was all about life and death, okay? And that's where Maslow's hierarchy of needs comes in, right? So if you're not familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the reason why this hierarchy of need was developed was because Maslow was studying motivation, and he was studying why humans do what they do, why we're motivated for certain things. And he says that we move up. We have different things that drive us, okay? The very most primitive thing that drives us is the need for physiological needs. Physiological needs are air, food, water. Anything that keeps our body functioning, that's physiological need. If this need is not met, nothing else will drive us, right? So this is our first primitive drive. The second one is safety and security. So we're talking about money or something that will give us money, like a job. We're talking about housing, right? And in back in the day, way back in the day when we were still living in caves, okay? This is where we lived. We were constantly right here, trying to find food, trying to stay safe, trying to find food and water, trying to stay safe. Every day, this is what drove us. Today, in 2017, these needs, for the most part, here in the United States, are met. Where we live right now is here. Love and belonging, which is exactly what it sounds like. The need to be a part of something, to belong, to have family, to have friends. And the need for respect, self-esteem. The need to feel good about ourselves, which is our worth, right? The need to feel worthy. These two things have nothing to do with our bodies. It's all about perception. And what is perception? Perception is thought. And if our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings create our actions, and the whole reason why we do anything today is because we believe in the doing of it, or in the having of it, we feel better. What is driving us, what is our motivator, what is our energy, are our thoughts. Our thoughts create our feelings, and feelings, all it is vibrational energy that puts us into motion, motivation, to act. And our actions create our results. But if everything that we do is to feel better, because we think that in the having of it or in the doing of it, we will feel better. When we don't feel good, what do? We stopped acting, right? We stop. So nothing gets done, and then you're stuck, which is what motivation is. When you think of, which is what procrastination is. And when you think about procrastination, the feeling that I feel when I think of procrastination is a feeling of stuck, of no motion, of stagnation, of walls, of like not being able to move forward. It feels stuck. It doesn't feel good. So then that triggers the thought that I'm not good enough, that I can't do this, that this is hard, that this is difficult, that this sucks, which then triggers me to think a feeling of worthlessness or boredom or whatever, which is a negative emotion. And anytime we feel anything negative, we stop, because the only reason why we do things, the only reason why we desire things is because we think in the having of it, we'll feel better. But if the procrastination isn't making us feel good or is triggering us not feeling good, what do? We do nothing. So the reason why we procrastinate and the reason why we lack motivation isn't because trying to think of a way to describe this. Okay. Energy, right? We're talking about energy, which is just vibrational currents. Energy is constantly flowing. Would you agree to that? Give me a like if you agree that energy is constantly flowing. That there is always a vibrational current going through this world. That there's always energy flowing. Would you agree to that? Yes, right? Energy doesn't just suddenly stop flowing. The only thing that causes energy to stop flowing is for something or someone to put a block to prevent it from flowing through. Are you guys following me with that? Do you believe that? Right? When you turn on the light switch, or when you walk into the room and it's really bright in the room, you don't turn on the darkness switch, right? What you're doing is you're turning off the current that brings in the light. So you're blocking the light from coming through. You're not turning on the dark switch. Does that make sense? Energy is constantly flowing, which means motivation is constantly flowing, because motivation is energy. Following me with that? Like, if you are. Do you believe that? Give me a like if you believe that. Or just to let me know that you're still here, you're still following along. I told you it was going to get weird and trippy in here. Energy is constantly flowing. Motivation is constantly flowing. The reason why you do not feel motivated isn't because there is a lack of motivation, but rather that you're putting up a block to motivation. You're not allowing that motivation to flow through. And would you agree that motivation is a positive emotion? To feel motivated, to feel inspired, to feel in the zone. Would you agree that that is all positive feelings, all positive things that you want, that in having of it, you feel better? Like, if you agree with that. When you're procrastinating, what you're doing is you're putting up a block to the motivation that's trying to flow to you. And that block is negative emotion. Because if motivation, inspiration, being in the zone is positive, then the opposite of that would be procrastination, and it would have to be negative. Do you agree with that? It would have to be a negative emotion. Yes or no? Give me a like if you agree, or type in yes if you agree. Okay, perfect. So, the reason why you don't feel motivated is because you are not in a vibrational alignment with motivation. Instead, you are blocking motivation by thinking negative feelings, by feeling bad about the fact that you're procrastinating, by feeling bad when you think about having to write a paper, or when you think about reading, or when you think about studying. All of these negative emotions are putting up a block to the motivation or the positive energy, and energy is always flowing, that would give you the inspiration to take the action to get the thing done that would make you feel better. I've been reading this book, Ask and It Is Given, and this is about the fourth or fifth time that I've read it, and I'm into the law of attraction. And if you don't know what the law of attraction is, a governing principle that like attracts like. So vibrational energy of the same kind will attract the same kind of energy. So you would need to be in the same vibrational energy as motivation in order to receive motivation. And if you're not feeling motivated, the only reason why you're not feeling motivated is because you're not in vibrational alignment to it, and you're putting up a block with negative emotion. Procrastination is the wisdom to know not to force something that you are not vibrationally ready for. Because if you were emotionally or vibrationally ready to receive that energy to move you in the direction of writing the paper, you would already be motivated to act. What's happening is that you're negatively blocking, you're negatively thinking about the situation, which is not putting you in the same vibrational alignment as motivation. So then you're blocking it. And that's why you don't feel motivated and you're procrastinating. So what you have to do is first get yourself into a place where you're feeling happy, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling inspired, and then act. And the way that you do that is by changing your thoughts, because your thoughts drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your actions, and actions produce results. Your feelings drive your actions. If you're feeling good, you're receiving positive energy, you're going to be in motion, because motivation is energy. We talked about that when I defined it. If you're feeling negative emotions, you're not in the same vibrational path as motivation. You're blocking it. So therefore, you're not receiving the motivation. So therefore, you don't act. You procrastinate, because procrastination is inaction. It's feeling stuck. Is all of this making sense, or do you feel like this is like super way over your head right now? Give me a like if you're understanding this. Give me a thumbs down if you're feeling like this is way too woo-woo for me, Clarissa. I don't get any of this. I'm going to wait for everyone to respond, because I want to make sure that we're like on the same page here. If this is over your head, give me a thumbs down. If you're following with me, if what I'm saying is jiving with you, and I'm getting ready to go to the gym, so I'm in my sports bra, give me a thumbs up if you're following along, thumbs down if you don't get what I'm saying at all. Okay, perfect. So if you want to put yourself in a situation where you're no longer procrastinating, what you need to work on is changing your vibration. Vibration is energy. The way we interpret energy as human beings is through feelings and emotions. So you need to change your feelings and emotions before you act. And you do that by engaging in things or thinking about things that make you feel good, that make you feel happy, that make you feel inspired. Because fun, goodness, feeling good, feeling inspired is in the same track as motivation. which means there's no longer a block, which means that motivation can now actually get through. And what will happen when you do that is you will get inspired action. All of a sudden, you'll think of a topic for a paper that you had never thought about before, that is so easy to find research on, that is so easy to type and write, and that you're so freaking jazzed to write about, because now you let the motivation flow through. All of a sudden, you'll end up stumbling upon a video that explained a concept that you had just been spending 2 hours trying to learn, because now you've allowed that motivational energy to come through, because you've put yourself in the path of that positive energy instead of blocking it through negative emotion. When you block things through negative emotion, what happens? You're unable to think about things differently. You're unable to come up with creative ways to perform an action. And then it's hard. Then it doesn't flow. Then it doesn't feel easy. And that's what we're trying to get to a place where school and college and studying feels easy. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to overcome all of the struggles that I had as a student. A lot of the girls that I work with will ask, like, how did you change your thoughts? How did you change things around so that you could go from somebody who was completely failing out of a bio major to someone who's seeing success and now teaches other students how to see success? And I think that the reason why that happened was because I stopped focusing my attention on all the things that I did not have, on all of the negative stuff. And instead, I became obsessed with improving myself and making myself feel good about myself, which then led me to books and led me to mentors and led me to all these other things that made it easy for me to understand how to learn as a student. And that is what all of you need to learn how to do. And that's something that now I'm focusing my attention to, because I can give students all of the tips in the world on how to succeed as a student. I can teach them how to write notes. I can teach them how to read a textbook. But if their mental energy isn't in alignment, if they're not feeling good about themselves, if they're not feeling good about their situation, if they're not feeling good about what it is that they're doing, it doesn't matter. The 20% of all those skills and tips don't work. 80% of success comes from managing this, your thoughts and your emotions. Your thoughts, which trigger your emotions, which trigger your actions. And the girls in study school you're gonna start receiving a lot. You're going to receive a whole new course section of study school that's going to be dealing with the mental part of all of this. We're going to be talking about law of attraction. We're going to be talking about neuroscience. We're going to be talking about all of that kind of stuff. Melissa says, how do we manage that then? How do we manage what, Melissa? How do we manage our thoughts? The mental part. So the process goes like this. First, becoming aware of them, changing them, and then living in that state of changing them. The part that most people do not want to do is noticing the thoughts that they're having. You can't change something if you don't know what you need to change. Melissa says changing them is the problem. Melissa, do you know what those thoughts are? Let's start there. Do you know what the thoughts that you're having are? Have you actually taken time to breathe and think about what you're thinking? And then paying attention to the feelings that those thoughts are producing. Have you taken time to do that? to actually become aware of them and aware of the feelings that those thoughts are producing. The way that you start changing your thoughts is by going general, by thinking of things that make you happy that have nothing to do with the thing that's making you upset. And this is something that I'll go deeper into in the live stream. I don't have time to go through it right now, but I just wanted to give you all a little taste of procrastination, why it happens, and what we can start doing to change it. Because it has nothing to do with the fact that you lack motivation, because motivation is always flowing because it's energy. It's about whether or not we are allowing it to flow through us. So that was a lot. That was it. I've been on here for about half an hour. I'm going to let that ruminate. I'm going to let you think about that for a little bit. And I will be back at some point to talk a little bit more about this concept, about what I've been doing, what I've been thinking about in regards to why it is that students are not seeing the type of success that they want. Bye.